What is up, peeps? Hope we're all doing well. Welcome back, as per usual, to more esports talk out there. I would say a rising, growing issue I've wanted to talk about for quite some time, and I've actually mentioned a few times in the past month or so, that being rising slowly but surely esports salaries out there. We previously mentioned months ago the League of Legends LCS average salaries, and especially towards the higher end, what these players are making. We've also recently talked about as well CSGO salaries for a lot of Danish teams out there, including Astralis, and the baffling amounts they do make. I got a lot of comments on that video saying, oh, Danish taxes are very, very high. Doesn't change the fact that an organization still has to pay those insane salaries, breaking reportedly, $350,000 at the least for each and every player, plus paying them out prize pools. It comes as no surprise why organizations out there who are not currently in Counterstrike might not be willing to join or try and approach the top tier scene of Counterstrike because of these growing salaries. So I bring to light a few points out there and kind of ask you guys the question, are CSGO current player salaries so high? Is that why some top tier organizations are avoiding the said esport and a lack thereof return? I think it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple as yes. Now, Counterstrike is kind of a linchpin for a lot of top tier organizations. You have a CS team, you're set in stone, right? A lot of, I would say, League of Legends, Counterstrike are kind of the premier esports out there to hold, at least for that brand image, which is why we see top tier esports actually eating these losses each and every year. When I first talked about this, it was actually Cloud9 who has come forward with Jack Etienne to talk about the $1 to $2 million per year of losses they have had on their Counter-Strike roster. Even more recently, we talked about T1 CEO, that being Joe Marsh, who came onto a swag stream to talk about why he thinks top-tier organizations are simply not entering CSGO at all.
Right, yeah.
Probably work, right? Why isn't T1 in the CS scene? I don't know. It's a tough game to, like, we got invited to participate in one of those leagues, but the rosters are already set. Like, you have to go build a roster from scratch, and it's not exactly easy to do that.
Yeah, I feel like CS is pretty hard to get into.
Yeah, it's like unless you
most of the good teams
for a roster
are already signed anyways.
Yeah.
And something I never share with all of you guys, I actually was in talks with Griffin. An Asian organization out there, unfortunately had undergone a lot of circumstances ever since I talked to them in the League of Legends scene, which are pretty rough. We're not going to dive into, but they too were trying to approach the Counter-Strike scene and enter into it. And through short talks with them, they found out that finding individual players without massive buyouts or finding full rosters who were, reasonably priced was nearly impossible. I imagine they maybe never would even enter the scene because despite their ongoing issues elsewhere in esports, it was just so difficult and so expensive and so time consuming and wealth consuming to enter the esport. They kind of backed off on that one. Very lastly, for a fourth point, what we talked about already in the intro was the staggering salaries just for some Danish teams out there. North and their salaries, given their results, is that worth it? How do they pay those? I still have no idea. You have a formerly #1 and most widely regarded CSGO team in Astralis, and now they're undergoing their issues, whatever's going on inside under that umbrella with that organization as they expand that roster. Their salaries now leaked and to be staggeringly high. Those former 2019 guys may be approaching $900,000 in earnings for the year for each and every player if you include prize pools and salaries and sponsorships. And it makes you wonder, how the heck is that an affordable, sustainable model? I think it at least begs the question, right? And so we see these orgs consistently struggling. We see these players making some top-end salaries out there. I wonder, I'll end it on this one for all of you. Are we going to see a time where salaries finally take a dip back to what they should be? I can't blame a player, right? A pro career, especially in Counter-Strike or any top esport out there, is going to be short-lived. You want to grab the bag while you can. I respect that. Of course, I'm on the player's side. But at what point in time do we see organizations maybe take a stand and say, hey, we cannot pay you that. Hey, this is not sustainable. Is it affecting the overall esport? I have no idea. At the very least, it's a great talking point that if CSGO salaries, are they too high? And are they keeping new, maybe rising or top organizations who are not in Counter-Strike from joining the esport entirely? I don't know. Let's talk about it. Until next time, drink that water, drink that coffee. I'll see you guys all back here sometime soon.